Hello. Welcome to Lost State Records Podcast.
Hi there, my name is Trey. This is the Lost State Records Podcast. Thanks for listening. If you don't know me, my name is Trey Hannawalt. I run a label called Lost State Records, and I live in Portland, Oregon. And yes, the anarchist capital of the world, as we like to call it here. Just kidding, no one calls it that. There are a lot of anarchists, but they're not terrorists like most right-wingers. Anyways, enough about politics. Today on the show, we interviewed our friend Jeremy McGuire. Not Jeremy McGuire, like the movie, but our friend Jeremy McGuire, who is the drummer from a band called Machinist, or like, I think it's also called The Machinist, or Machinist with an exclamation point. We talked about his bands. He's in a couple bands called Sports Reference, Leg Biters, and Machinist. Also, he does a lot of cool photography stuff, so check his stuff out. I'll put some links in the description. But yeah, we just bullshitted. Not so much of an interview as it is more of just hanging out, talking to a friend who I haven't really talked to in a bit. So enjoy the podcast, and yeah, have fun.
I'm telling you, it's the lag.
Yeah, okay.
Whatever, however you want to do it.
No, for sure. With technology, you think this shit would be a little easier. But anyways, so.
All right, hold on. Let me clear my throat.
Yeah. I'm like drinking coffee with creamers. It's probably not a good choice.
I mean, I just got some water, so.
This is my water. All right, so, and action. Hey, Jeremy, what's up, dude? I never know how to start like podcasts for the most part. I'm just like, hey, so
that's perfect.
Like,
that's a perfect start. I don't know what you're talking about.
Anyways, so yeah, I felt like I was doing more podcasts in a row. It was like easier, and then I didn't do it forever. And now when I was doing a podcast with John, I was like, I felt really awkward.
The only reason, like on our podcast, we've done it so many times and so many weeks in a row that it's become formulaic. So it's like we can it's almost like a script that you just like fall into. But
yeah.
Well, hey Trey.
So what's up, dude? Yeah. So I haven't really even talked to you. Like the last time I think I talked to you and heard your voice was like when you played in a Tascadero.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
Probably.
You saw, or you toured with my band last summer.
Wait, who's your band? Wait, what?
Oh, I'm not sure if you. I'm in a band called Machinist. Well, I'm in a million bands.
Is it Machinist?
It's actually it's the Machinist.
The Machinist.
Yeah.
You know what's funny? Every time I'm wearing my Machinist sweater, someone's like, "What is that? Is it Machinist?" I'm all. It's Machinist.
Like, how is Machinist is like a normal word?
Well, I mean, to normal plebs, they see the hardcore metal font and they're like, they can't read it.
It must be like some crazy Machinist.
They're like, oh, that's sick. No, but actually, I get a lot of compliments whenever I wear your guys' merch.
Wow, that's nice to hear.
I think Jeff was sending me a newer, older, and colder sweater with.
McCready
on it.
Yeah, McCready from the Thing.
And I was like, oh, that's so sick. I was like, now I have two of the exact same sweater, but it's just a different dude on the back.
Yeah, I think we're gonna start doing that every winter. It's like just like an updated new dude on the.
Yeah, no, he said you guys were probably gonna just update it every winter.
Yeah, why not?
Do you have a plan for the next one, you think?
Well, honestly, no. Like that one was so like thrown together that we didn't even we were just like, fuck it, let's do this. And so I don't know. Yeah. We'll figure it out next year.
Oh, for sure. I was trying to think who else would be a good one. I mean, are you gonna usually just keep it to like horror like themes?
Well, I think as it just it just needs to be something that's cold, and like there's a lot of coldness in horror movies. So maybe someone from like Alien or something like that would be cool.
What about, can you do Matthew McConaughey from True Detective on the back?
Yeah, okay.
He's cold. He's cold as fuck.
That first season was so good at that show. Holy shit.
Dude, the second season, I like, it was like good,
it's
but
fine. It's fine.
I don't know. I just couldn't. I think this is what I talked to a friend of mine. I was like, they built up the first season it was just so like interesting and different. Well, it's not. I mean, a lot when it comes to stuff like that, it's like super, the kind of occult, weird.
Yeah.
Like it just fit. Like it's in the South. It's like some dude murdering women, and like it's super dark. And there's all this like cult stuff around it, and it's like really interesting. But then the second season, you just go back to like it's just like a normal crime drama.
Yeah,
like,
it's so
like
much more basic.
Dude. Yeah, and then everyone's like, "Oh, I was expecting like more fucked up shit," and like it's fucked up, but not really. And
yeah.
I don't think it. I don't know. I just was confused most of the
time.
Yeah,
I wasn't looking for like fucked up necessarily. I was just looking for different. I was looking for interesting, and it was so like basic. You know what I mean? It was so. It was just like. I don't know. The only interesting scene was that shootout in the middle of the city. Like that was like the most interesting scene.
Yeah, that was the only thing that was interesting.
Right, and that was really cool. But like, I wanted more of that. You know, I wanted, but like, I don't know, whatever.
I like, there's the scene where the guy goes in and the dude from like Friday Night Lights, and then he like gets, I think he just gets shot. I forgot, he gets killed, and you're like, oh fuck! Like in the middle of the show, you were like, oh, he's dead now. You're like, oh, okay.
Yeah, he's just gone.
But yeah, anyway, so enough about True Detective. I do love it. You know what's really funny is that they still are like producers on all the seasons. I haven't seen the third one. I need to watch that.
I never saw that one either because it has the guy from Moonlight and Luke Cage. What's his name? I'm gonna butcher it.
Luke Cage?
No, yeah, he's the bad guy in Luke Cage in the first season.
Oh, Luke Cage. I think I said Luke Page. I'm like, who the fuck's Luke Page? Luke Perry? He's dead.
No, Luke Cage, the Netflix show.
Oh, Luke Cage. Oh, that guy.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. But anyways, yeah. So let's see. Machinist. We got. I heard you have a 20-track song or 20-track album coming out soon.
Yeah. Like, well, it's
20
like
track. Yeah, they're all 5 seconds long though.
Yeah. I mean, well, we were trying to repeat that first record where we put out like 16 songs in 20 minutes.
No.
Oh,
wow, 16 songs. It's like, oh, they're only like less than a minute.
Yeah, that was a contractual thing. Like we were signed to Eulogy, and it had to be 20 minutes. And so we were writing minute-long songs, basically. And so it was very difficult to get to that point. I mean, there's songs on that record I don't remember at all because we were just like trying to fill that 20-minute like. No,
for sure.
Thing.
And then you end up just writing. You know, I mean, it's not like you're gonna make the best content out of just trying to like force it, but,
right? And not that
sometimes it happens.
Well, not that I don't like. It's not that I dislike those songs. It just became very much like a thing we had to do as opposed to what we wanted. You know what I mean? No, so like sure. for the next LP, Closer to Death, we did 8 songs because we were satisfied. We were like, this is it, we're done. 8 songs.
And then this is through the Inner Strength Records, right?
Yeah, that one was through Inner Strength. There was no length deal for that one. But
how did you guys find those labels to do those certain things? Like, also, what's that Speedo Wax? That's in England, right?
Yeah. Okay. So we've kind of had a really weird like label history. Speedo Wax, like Speedo Wax is this cool label in England. They mostly do vinyl releases and mostly 7 inches, and like they've been doing it for like 20 years. I mean, they did stuff for like Down to Nothing and the Ataris like 20 years ago. It's really crazy. But they were putting out a lot of Florida hardcore about 5 to 10 years ago, and so I was paying attention to them because of that. And I just reached out and I was like, hey, we have this new EP that we're putting out. It was our second EP, Birthright, and he was like, "Yeah, that's dope. But can I also put your first EP out as well?" So he put the fucking what was it called, Blacklist, out on vinyl, and then put Birthright out on vinyl, and it was just really cool. It was, I mean, it was
great. I have like 15 Birthright 7 inches back here. Right back here.
Hey, why don't you buy one on Lost 8 Records website?
No,
well, it was weird because it was like that Birthright record was like, it's 5 songs in about 5 minutes. It's pretty short, and we originally wanted to do 3 on one side, 2 on the other, press it at like a 45 speed, but he was really insistent on putting another band on the other side like a split, even though it wasn't meant to be a split. And so that was a little weird. So we ended up just reaching out to our friends in Dying Whale, And
that's Zagorski, right?
That's Matt Zagorski, who is now our current.
Yeah. You know what's funny is like when I was hanging out on tour, I was like, I always heard this band Dying Whale. I never looked into who it was. I just like, oh, it's a band that like Machinist like did a split and like they've toured with. And then when I was hanging out on tour, I was like, oh, it's Eli and Matt.
Yeah.
It's just them. I was like, oh, okay. I thought it was like some other like I don't know band. It's just the two. They're just a two-piece.
They were a 4-piece for a long time, and then basically Dying Whale is like always been Matt Zagorski. It is like his thing, and it's been like other members come and go, and so it's finally just Eli Worth and Matt just doing their own thing. But yeah, like what I was saying is, we were just like, well, if we have to have another band for this other side, we want it to be a friend of ours, and so we asked Dying Whale, and so that's why there's 2 Dying Whale songs on the back of that actual vinyl release. And so it's like technically a split, but it's not. I don't know. It was weird.
I was assuming if he like was like you should do it as a split, but then he like had another because sometimes labels will have like, oh, I have this other band that I want you to put on because a friend of like Drew from my band Kill Me Please and stuff. He's in another band called Dry Socket, which is sick as fuck. If you want to check it out.
No, I know.
Oh yeah. They actually just did like I think 3 songs for a split, and they're like some of the fucking heaviest shit. Not heavy and like really metally, but just they're just they go so fucking hard, dude. I'm so excited. I just heard the rough demos, and I was like, this could be put out as like just an album, and it sounds amazing.
That's awesome.
Yeah, they recorded with this guy here. He's like really good. Their last 7-inch was recorded by him, and it just sounds great. I recorded their demo, which I was proud of, but also I did it in like this shitty little space, and like it's so funny because like doing recording stuff, I like know how to do stuff pretty good, but then fucking like 6 months later, I learn more shit, and I just go,
yeah,
fuck, man, I wish I could have used that doing like when I learned how to like replace kick and snares, doing like triggering and kind of beefing up tracks. I was like, fuck, man, I wish I could go back and.
I mean, that's what it is, though.
But, yeah.
That's how you learn and you grow and you advance as an artist in that sense. And like, I mean, I just started learning how to record my own stuff, and I was so proud of the initial the songs I was doing, and then even to like now I'm like recording my other bands, and I'm like able to use stuff I've been learning along the way, and like you know.
Yeah, no, for sure. I just remember when I mastered your Sports Reference album, I thought you had some doing in the recording. So like when you were sending me your new project, I was like, I just assumed you already knew like most recording stuff. And then you're like, dude, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, I know nothing.
Anyways, the point I was trying to make, I do this a lot. I'll like start talking about something and get sidetracked.
That's right. Yeah, we're talking about splits.
So anyway, so with the label, they're like, yeah, whatever, just find someone else to do a 7-inch with. And then like with the label that Drew, they're putting their stuff out. It's called Safe Inside, which is the dude from Dying For It, which is a band from like LA.
They're like distributed by Deathwish. I know that label.
Yeah, I don't know if that's a newer thing, but how do people get distributed by Deathwish?
You pay them money.
Oh, you have to pay them? Is that how it works? Pay to play?
They're a distribution company. That's how it works.
Is that how? Bro, been running a label for a while. I still don't even understand everything. I just never, like, I don't know if you've done any bigger distribution stuff, but like, I do small stuff and put it online and like, hopefully people buy it.
No. Label stuff, I've never done any distro. I've only done like, like all my friends where I'm just like, here, will you take just like 3 of these tapes? Please?
Yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, it's like I don't have the money to put into it. Also, every like release when I first started doing label stuff, I just used because I was like living with my parents when I started it, so I had all this money because I worked at a Whole Foods, and I was like, whatever, and I would just use my money, and because I didn't really do anything else with it. I mean, now I have tons of debt. Now I have tons of debt now. But at the time, I was like, fuck it. So I just was paying for everything in a pocket. And then whenever I'd make money, I would just keep it. Because it was just kind of like a side thing. Like, I wasn't doing this to, like, be the biggest label ever. And
no, you're just doing it because you want to do it.
Yeah, I just doing it. And, I mean, the last while, I've had more desire to be, like, make it somewhat legit. But also, I don't have any fucking money. But anyways, the point I was trying to make was that the 7-inch, the label was like, hey, I want you to do a 7-inch. I have this other band, and they just went, okay. So they tracked out the songs, and then they're putting it out with the band, and I don't think they even really know them. But I was just wondering if that was the situation with that. But then, because he's losing money if like they don't sell. So he's like, you think he?
Yeah. Well, okay. So in our situation specifically, he did bring up some bands, but we were such a young band, and we really didn't want it to be a split to begin with. Well, yeah. That we were like, no, we don't want to do it with some random band because what if they turn out to be fuckheads? You know what I mean?
Yeah, true.
So we were like, no, we're gonna do it with our friends. Now, if we like a label is like, hey, we want you to do a split with this random band, I'd be like, maybe, like I'm more open to it, but definitely not back then. I was like, no.
I mean, at least if you've like heard of them and you know a little bit about them, like, it's fine. But if it's just some band, I mean, dude, like nowadays the risk of just sure, and then they're like, oh yeah, the singer, he fucking is a rapist. And
that's what that's what we were thinking back then too. We were like, we don't want to be associated with people we don't know because they could be, like I said, they could be fuckheads. I mean, case in point, we've done a few splits. Machinist specifically, like I said, I'm in a couple bands, but Machinist has done a few splits. We did technically that split with Dying Whale, and then we did a split with Vampirates from Reno, who are great.
I have one of those tapes.
Dear friends of ours. But then we did a split with Kill Me Please.
What band's that?
Just some shitheads from Portland.
Dude, who isn't a shithead from Portland, dude?
Anyways, but and next year...
I mean, I'm not from Portland. I'm from California.
Next year, we're doing one more split. We've recorded this song, I don't know, 3 years ago, but it's finally coming out. There's been a lot of delays for vinyl, for whatever, blah, 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 but we have a split coming out next year with a band called Dead Hand. That hasn't been officially announced, but I don't care. It's coming out next year. It will be officially announced soon.
You heard that right now. Lost State Records Podcast, new Machinist album.
It's true. We're going to have... So, I mean, it's going to be cool because it's going to be like a brand new song that we have not put out anywhere, and then it's going to be a official vinyl pressing of The Nail on that split as well.
Oh, hell yeah. That's dope.
Yeah, I'm really excited about it. We have a bunch of, there's like a music video and stuff. That's all going to start dropping in January, so very soon. Okay. And it's honestly... it might be my favorite Machinist song we have ever written. It is an incredible song, and I've been really mad that it hasn't come out yet.
Yeah, I remember doing that with an older band. You remember? The band when you guys toured through Atascadero. My band I was in is called American Memories with my friend Rich. We were just two-piece like screamo band.
Yeah, I remember.
We had like some stuff we did, and then we sat on for a while, and just like. When you sit there and you go like, this is so sick, and then you're just like waiting to do it, and then it's almost like you forget about it unless sometimes I would just forget and then be like, oh yeah, we have this song. Or actually, I realized too, I just spent the last couple days, I was like on digital like Spotify. I was like, I never uploaded like a couple of our albums, and I was like, why did I never do this? So I spent the time now uploading the albums, and it's really weird because I like checked the Spotify shit, and I'm like, what the fuck? Like I don't know if our band just sounded a certain way that like there was like over 2,000 people, like monthly listeners on an old band from
That's
you.
insane.
I was like, what the fuck? And I think the algorithms through Spotify were like throwing our shit in with a bunch of like bigger screamo bands. So all these kids are like playing like, and it's on some playlists, and I was just tripping out. And I'm like, me and Rich, I was like, dude, we should start writing some new shit because like there's people listening. Fucking no, we put out one single right before COVID, and then I just recorded the whole song, and then Rich sent some vocals over, and we put it out, and I was like, dude, we're going to start working on shit. And then COVID happened. I was like, well, no, not for a while.
No, that's cool, though. That's unexpected, but that's really cool.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's one of the projects I'm working on. I'm like, all right, we're going to rehash we're going to be an internet band because he lives in LA doing film stuff.
Basically, that's all of my bands right now are internet bands. Like, Machinist is an internet band. Like, we're going to meet up. We're going to meet up in a warehouse 6 feet apart, all wearing masks soon. So I'm very excited about that because we're trying to actually write a new EP, like past the split that's coming out. And then You recently mastered some tracks for my another new band I'm doing, Pope Boner.
Oh yeah, Pope Boner. Earlier when I was mentioning your new project, I literally just totally forgot. I was like, yeah, your new project.
Yeah. Pope Boner.
Pope Boner.
Dude,
did you make that like? No. This is after. Did you see the story about how the Pope was like, he liked a photo on Twitter of this
I
gamer
didn't know
girl
that.
with a photo. She was in like a school outfit and she had a like big ass, and
that's so funny.
The Pope's official Instagram liked the photo,
that's
and
so
I'm like,
funny.
oh my god,
Jesus
Pope
Christ.
Boner.
No, that's
Pope
even better now though. No, the name came from like, we would be touring, like Machinist would be touring, and we would literally play this game where it was just like, just come up with the most ridiculous band names you can. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And so
Pope
like
Boner,
it just I where it came from, and it was so funny. I sat on it for a long time, and then like I don't know, like 4 years ago, we tried to start the band with Matt Zagorski playing guitar, me playing drums, and Jeff doing vocals. But we didn't really do anything. Nothing really happened, and it went away. And then the pandemic happened, and quarantine happened, and all of a sudden I have all this time on my hands, and I'm going crazy because I cannot be creative. And this is coming from someone who... I'm in 4 bands. I do photography. I do a podcast. I do. I host shows. I run a small label. I'm used to being way too busy, and so I was kind of losing my mind. And I was like, I have to do something. So I got all this, cheap recording gear. I got a little interface, and blah blah blah. I got an electronic drum set, and I just made Pope Boner into a thing, and I play all the instruments. I do, I borrowed my friend's bass. I own some guitars, and I asked Jeff to do vocals because he was attached to it originally, and now we have a demo out, and that was really fun.
Yeah, dude, no, it's awesome. Listening to it, like, this makes sense, Pope Boner. Like, if I thought of Pope Boner, this is what I thought it would sound like.
Yeah, it's just, it's like snotty, like distorted vocals. And like I literally threw like a guitar distortion pedal on his vocals because I was just I wanted.
Did you throw? It sounded like a SansAmp plugin or something.
I mean, I don't have anything name brand. I have this. I don't know. Yeah. So, but it's probably something replicating that. You know what I mean? Like
probably. It just like there's a certain characteristic to like most when you get Pro Tools, it comes free with like certain plugins. It comes with a SansAmp like. Basically distortion like kind of rack thing, and the way it sounded with the vocals, which in the mix, like trying to mix it, it was just funny, like listening.
Yeah, no, it's ridiculous. It was just like
I love it so much. Oh my god, I was expecting a couple. No, I didn't hear any of that. Though.
I love it though. I love it so much. Like, and because Jeff wanted to do something very different than Machinist.
I could tell that. Yeah, I could tell that he was like, I'm gonna do something different with my voice too. Because if it's just me doing my voice, it's just gonna sound like Jeff from Machinist on a song.
And like the songs are reminiscent of early Machinist songs. I think they're a lot faster. But like. It could just be like early Machinist stuff rather than like this new. So he wanted to do something very different with his voice. We already have like those 4 songs came out on the demo, which they'll be up on Spotify. I don't know, sometime this month. But it's on Bandcamp and stuff. But we have a split lined up for next year. So I've already got 2 songs for that, which I'm going to be sending you soon.
Okay, cool. Oh, yeah. You told me about this. I forgot. I was like, what? Oh, yeah.
Hold on. And then I have probably like 10 more songs that I've like written that were, I don't know. I don't think we'll ever do an LP, but I'm just going to keep putting out like splits and fucking EPs forever.
You should do an LP, but every song should just be 10 seconds. So
God, fucking kill myself.
So it's like 14 songs, 10 seconds. I mean, you can nail that. It's just do like Locust, just done.
Done. Thank you.
Done. All right, next song. Next song. Next song. Like when it comes to a lot of power violence, I was just talking to a girl at my work because she's really into like metal and stuff. And I work at a grocery store in the deli. I'm an essential worker.
Yeah, me too.
Well,
I work for a pizza place.
Oh, you work at a pizza place? Oh, that's sick. But you don't have to deal with people though. You just make
I
pizza.
do. I'm serving and making pizza, so
like
I guess it's like a food truck almost, like a permanent food truck. It's in a park.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah,
It's funny. I worked at a food truck the last year before I left to go to New Seasons. It was a burger beer cart.
Yeah, I was before the pandemic. I was definitely not working for this place, but I needed a job because I lost all my jobs for a couple months. So this is what I have. It is what it is.
Dude. What did you do before?
I was
COVID
doing like a combination of things. Like I mentioned before, I do photography, so I was doing that.
Oh yeah.
And I was doing. I worked as a event coordinator for a venue in town called the Backyard. That was really cool because I was actually working with the owner of the Backyard is one of the owners. His name is Warren. He's the ex drummer of Against Me.
Oh, Warren. Oh,
Yeah,
like
he's
the original.
He's the drummer on the first 4 records, the first main 4 records.
Oh, that's so sick.
Yeah, it's cool. I mean, he doesn't, he doesn't like talk about it or anything, but like it was cool because I love Against Me. Just so working under him was cool.
Me too.
But I also did like stuff for a like a bodega where I just like worked in the kitchen. But I was like doing all sorts of different things, and then that happened. COVID happened.
Yeah.
I lost all those jobs basically, and now I'm just like, whatever. I just need to pay the bills. I'll work for this pizza place.
No, exactly. It's like, yeah, I worked. I mean, I was working at my food cart before this happened, but then we were shut down for a bit, and then we came back, and but it's outside the area where I work. It's where actually, it's funny is when Jeff and the boys showed up for the tour in Portland, I took them to this food cart area. I'd never been there, and I took them to this cart area, and we hung out. And I don't know if he told you this story, but like they had in the summer, they had like these movies playing.
Okay.
And they have a huge projector screen. And we rolled up and the music was like, the audio was blasting. Like you can hear it probably from like 3 blocks away. And they were watching the Dead Presidents movie. And there's a scene where like he's cutting this dude's fucking head off. Jesus. And like there's kids and everyone and like people just hanging out in this food cart under this tent area, like with tables, all just like watching this movie. And I was like, and then there's like a sex scene. I'm all, what the fuck? But then that cart that was right there it's called Bottle Rocket. It's like we make burgers and serve beer and stuff. But and then like a couple months later, my friend owns one of the carts. I'm like, hey, can I get a job? So then I ended up working there.
Nice.
And I was like, I never came here. I took Machinist, and then now I work here. So
now I'm here. Here it is.
Not really a great story, but I just thought it was funny.
No, that's cool.
But yeah, I have a couple stories from that tour that I could tell.
Yeah, well,
I mean,
okay,
there's not too many.
Let me preface this. So what we're talking about is a tour that Machinist went on the West Coast last year. Toured from Portland down to LA, back up to Portland. I unfortunately was really fucking sick and couldn't go. So really Eli from Dying Whale replaced me for that, or filled in for me on that tour. I mean, I've toured California before. That's obviously how we met. But,
for sure.
Yeah, so I don't mind hearing the stories because I wasn't even fucking there.
No, for sure. I mean, there's only a couple. I'm not going to go on about every detail. It's not like everything was exciting every second, but I mean, for the most part, it was. But yeah, I was really bummed you couldn't show. But then I didn't know, and then Jeff's like, "Yeah, Jeremy's a little sick." I was like, "Oh shit, dude." But I did miss you. It would have been fun. But also, Eli was a lot of fun too.
No, Eli's a great dude. Love him. I mean, we've toured with Dying Whale 1,000 times, and I love Eli. So like, that was the first person we thought of to fill in for me. So.
Yeah, Eli's
He's also a way better drummer than I am, so.
I wouldn't say that.
No, he is.
You know what? Okay, I do give him credit because this man, I'm sure you heard this story. This man, we were in Santa Cruz. He bought in Portland a fucking like syringe that was loaded with like 100 or 200 milligrams of fucking THC, like straight cannabis oil. Because, dude, when I brought them to Portland, I walked them in. Like, I go, yeah, whatever, it's a weed shop. I brought them in there. They, like, were fucking kids in a candy store. Yep. They're like, what the fuck? You could just look at all this weed. And they're just like, holy shit, drinks?
Yep.
You can buy a plant. And I'm like, dude, what are you guys? And I'm like, oh, they're like, dude, it's like you can get, like, a felony for having weed in Georgia or something.
It's Georgia. It's not even like medical's not legal. It is so illegal in Georgia.
Didn't they just pass that it's decriminalized?
No,
something?
they did not.
No, I could have sworn I saw a couple states legalized it though.
In Florida, it's legal medicinally. Like only medicinally. So so there are dispensaries and stuff, but you have to have the medical card or whatever.
Yeah.
My girlfriend was actually working for one of those places, and so like the stories of how that stuff works is really wild. But
yeah, that's super weird. Yeah, it's just weird. Like, because in California, it was basically legalized when I was there, and then I moved here. No, it wasn't. Well, it was legalized, but not recreational. Yeah. And then I moved to Portland. I didn't even like smoke weed. And then when I was here, I was like, oh, like it's legal. So I was like, oh, okay. And then I still don't really smoke or.
I don't smoke weed.
I take edibles sometimes. That's about it.
I don't smoke weed, but I definitely find it interesting, like the legalization process and the like crazy shit that you can't like. I would love to go to a legal weed store and be like, oh my god, there's lollipops, like, or whatever the fuck.
Yeah, dude, you can literally fucking buy anything. You can buy a fucking butt plug loaded with fucking weed.
Hell yeah.
No, but so anyways, I'll get back to my story so I don't get sidetracked. So Eli got this vial and he was like taking little dabs from it, and we were in Santa Cruz and it was really hot. Obviously, it was fucking like July, so guy's fucking miserable. Sometimes like when we were in San Bernardino, I was just like sitting in the van, like drinking beer and just laying there, like putting water on myself. It was so hot. But this man was like taking little shots, right? And this man, also Jeff, I'll tell that too. He went to shoot a little in his mouth, and it was so hot it like melted a little bit. This man shot like 100 milligrams of fucking THC in his mouth.
Jesus
and
Christ.
Went, oh fuck, and just swallowed it. He was like, whoa. And he sat around, and I think he took a nap for a couple hours, and then he woke up like fucked up and just like had to play a show, and he's like struggling, but he did a good job. I was very proud of him. But yeah, dude, he was at first. I didn't really know how to read Eli when I first met him because he was like really quiet, but then he seemed kind of moody, and I was like, I don't know if there was something going on in his personal life or something, but I was just like, I didn't really. And then eventually through the tour, we got to know each other more.
Yeah, he's kind of a quiet dude, but he also opens up once he gets.
He's
to know
really
you.
fun. Yeah, he's really funny. And then also Jeff did the same thing. I don't know if it's that same show, maybe another day, but he got like an edible cookie and he didn't know what to do with it, and someone said, yeah, like, eat the whole thing. He's like, yeah, for sure. And he eats the whole. It's like 50 milligrams, and especially. I don't know if how much weed or how much he takes in. You know, if you don't have a tolerance, it's kind of. So he ate a whole fucking cookie and he just like slept. he just got fucking high and then just would fall asleep. And I'm all like, dude, what the fuck? You guys are such fucking noobs, dude.
Yeah, I think Eli was probably the only one on that tour who had any experience with like a real amount of weed.
Yeah, he liked it. He was getting high like every second. He likes his weed.
Yeah, exactly. Anyways,
enough about that. Anyways, Eli. Oh wait, he doesn't do weed. I mean, not like anyone's gonna listen to this and be like, "That guy does weed." Track him. Arrest him.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's scary though. But yeah, dude, one day when you come to Portland, you should come. Well, if you do eventually maybe do another tour, if the world will exist, for musicians, you could come through and then I'll take you to a weed shop.
Yeah,
There's a couple good ones.
The plan is definitely to like so not to just like talk about COVID a bunch, but it is pervasive in everyone's lives.
Yeah, it's the only thing happening really.
Right.
So it's understandable.
We were supposed to go on tour in March with a band called Ox. And they're from Denmark, and the travel ban happened in February, so we knew that they were no longer able to come. And then we were like, but we'll still go on the tour because this COVID thing's not like that bad. And then,
I remember. Yeah.
And then everything shut down, and we had to cancel it. And so we were like, okay, maybe this fall we'll go to Europe and or whatever. And then just like it hits June, and you're like, okay, nothing's gonna happen for so. Who knows when everything will happen, but like the plan is ultimately to like have that band come to the US, tour with them, and then go to Europe and tour with them over there, and then do a West Coast tour, another West Coast tour after that. Because we love California, we love the West Coast. It treats us very well every time we're over there. Because I don't know if it's like a hometown thing, but no one gives a people really give a shit about us over there. And in the Southeast, no one cares. You know what I mean? It's like I don't know.
I can understand that.
It's like you see us too much sort of thing or something.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. I mean, from following your guys' pages and stuff, like even before I really got to know you guys better, before the tour and all this, it's like you'd play show. It's not like there's a problem where people like. There's people who, like in Portland, there's people who are like, I'm in a band because they just want to be in a band and they just want to play shows so their coworkers could come and see them. And I've seen a lot of bands like that here in Portland, which is fine. I just, if they stay in their little bubble and they just play shows to like small little bars and like there's nothing wrong with that. But there's also people who are in bands who I don't know if they think they're gonna we're gonna get famous and they just overplay. That's one thing I had to learn growing up is like if you play too much, no one's gonna give a fuck.
Yeah, absolutely.
They could just see you the next week. Oh, you're playing 2 weeks from now at another bar, so then they don't show up. So it's like there's a point of making it more of like an ordeal where like someone said that like we don't play a show more than once a month or something like that. There's a band from my hometown. They were called PK, and then they ended up turning into a band called Night Riots, and they're on Sumerian Records. But they made a point. They were smart though, man. I mean, they got famous. They're on Sumerian. I mean, they're not that famous, but
they're on Sumerian.
Yeah, I mean, they did tours and stuff, but like they're not like on, they're not like Taylor Swift. But yeah, they made a point to just be like, we're only playing like in our hometown area. Like they would just go out and like. Go to like some other town, play there. Don't play too much because then you just
honestly
saturate.
I think that's really great advice to anyone who's listening who's like in like a newer band. Like as a brand new band, I don't think it's is as much. Like if you're 6 months or younger, you're just trying to tell people that you exist. Right, so it's a little different. But if you're in a newish band, like 6 months to a year or 6 months to 2 years, you got to stop playing as much. You got to, like you were saying, if you want to play shows, go out of town. Go a couple towns over. Don't play in town more than. I mean, if it's a small town, once every 2 months, once every 3 months. You know what I mean? Yeah. But if it's a big town, you could probably get away with once a month. But like I live in Gainesville, Florida, not a very big town, so like we all my bands would try to only play once every 2 or 3 months in town. And like Machinist, I'm the only one who lives in Gainesville, so like we would only play once every 6 months, so it was like a bigger deal. But yeah, that's kind of like one of the biggest pieces of advice I can give is like don't fucking oversaturate yourself because people stop giving a shit.
No, for sure. And it's funny because like people think that, you just have to overplay and people like, I mean, nowadays, like when you look at like YouTube or something, it's all about content. It's like content, put it out. There's so much that you're going to throw a wide net. Someone's going to find it and you're going to get more people. But I just find that with bands and I mean, obviously people can't play a bunch right now. I mean, it'd be the same as if like a band's like, what's up? We're doing a live stream every week. We're doing a live stream. We're doing doing a set. But I mean, people might show up that really love you, but people
they're
are
gonna stop caring.
I don't really care. Like
I mean, like it would be like, okay, this week we have an audio tree, next week we have a little elephant section, next week we have this, next week we have that, and it's like stop.
Day trotter.
Yeah, we're day trotter. We're like like you gotta space it out.
No, for sure. Dude, it's what's funny, I realized like I feel like within the last couple years, like for a hot minute, dude, audio tree, elephants, like dude, those live sessions popped so hard, like people were so into them. And then even before COVID, I feel like Audio Tree just kind of like dipped out, or not dipped out. They just dipped down, like, and they have some bands like pop on that are.
I think they went to a different genre. What happened for me with Audio Tree is I stopped caring about the bands because they weren't bands they weren't. It
was like random small bands. That
right, exactly. So like they were like trying different things, but like. The big one for me was Little Elephant. Little Elephant just literally stopped. Like they did like one video in a year, and I was like, no, because I think Little Elephant is the best live session series of all of them.
I do like them.
I think the reason I love it so much is it's in a house, which I love because I love the intimacy and it feels like a fucking house show. They're literally pouring sweat because it's hot as shit. 2, the sound is never too good. I think in Audio Trees, the sound can be almost overproduced. Yeah, it's just over.
Yeah, it depends on the band. I like really good sounding recordings, but but also it's more intimate if it's like a little rough. Oh my god, watch the elephant session, elephantry? Yeah. Watch the elephantry session of like Into It Over It, and did like he's hits notes, he's like flat a little bit and kind of shit like I love him. I love Evan, but not that it was bad, but like you get to hear what he actually sounds like. Also, a lot of his stuff is a little overproduced. But,
okay. Trey, I know you know this, but to your listeners, I am also a host of a podcast called the Deathscography Podcast, where we are going through the Death Wish Inc. discography, whatever. So I have listened. We've done 38 episodes this year. We started in like March or whatever. I have listened to a lot of new music that I have never heard before, and it's like I'm really like starting to boil down like what I like about production and what I like about this and that, and it's like. I have definitely realized that I've always kind of known this, but I've definitely realized like I prefer a rough edge to a production, and that might be because I'm in the rough edge of hardcore and punk. I don't like the overly produced side of punk. Like I was never into like Bad Religion or NoFX or whatever.
Me neither.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like I'm more into like the power violence or the like really rough demos and shit like that on the other side. And so you know, there's Death Wish releases. Like we just covered, who did we just cover? 100 Demons. Do you know 100 Demons?
I do. Okay, so like I know a bit of like hardcore bands and other stuff, but I'm not a beacon
I get it. And a lot of these
metal stuff news. I mean, like I don't know. It's like I find what I find and I like what I like, and then when people go, "Oh, you ever heard this band and this band?" and I'm like, I feel like a poser sometimes. I'm like,
no. I get it. Like because the thing is 100 Demons is like kind of like they're like known for like in the hardcore scene, but like I had never listened to them until this podcast, and I was like, oh, I think they kind of sound like Killswitch Engage, but it's like
really?
It's weird. It's like that kind of metalcore. And less singing. They do have some singing, but like less singing. But I think it was just too overly produced for me. It was like it was too clean. It was too like I don't know. There was no mess ups. The drums were perfect, and it's just like
really.
I don't know. It's weird. It's weird.
100 Demons with a name like that, I wouldn't expect it to be like super produced.
Same, but they were produced by the same people who did like Hatebreed and Killswitch Engage.
Really?
And it's this dude named Zeus, and he was like really big in the mid 2000s as like a metalcore producer.
I feel like I've heard that name before.
Yeah, I mean his shit was like known in that era, and he's known for this kind of like clean metalcore sound, and they definitely got it. But then I listened to bands like I don't know, like. Okay, here's a perfect example. Converge, right? Converge is a band whose recordings sound so good, but they don't sound overproduced. There is still a roughness there. There's still a rawness.
Bro, I love Kurt. I'm so obsessed with Kurt.
Right, but that's what I mean. Like Kurt is like, he captures it perfectly. It's like, I don't need it to sound like shit to enjoy it. I just need a roughness to it. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, he just knows how to... I mean, if you watch pull up any, I've seen videos of him mixing and talking about music stuff. Like, he's so fucking smart, dude. Like, he's such a smart dude, and he's so fucking just chill. And you know what's funny? Me and Drew went to Converge. They played at a venue in downtown Portland, and I actually ran into Andy because he lives here, the drummer from Fall Out Boy. And Sect. And I'm always like, I see him around town sometimes. I'm like, oh, there's Andy. And people could probably go, oh my God. I don't think most people recognize him because he's like really graying. He's got like gray. He's got a big beard. And he's fucking yoked, dude. And like, I don't think people would recognize him if they really saw him. I looked at him. I'm like, but he was at a Converge show, and I'm like, oh yeah, he's into hardcore. Yeah, he's in a hardcore band called Sect. But then I watched Converge, and then after me and Drew were leaving, and around the back, Kurt was sitting there just talking to like two people, and I just walked by, and I said, hey, Kurt. I was like, great show. He's like, thanks, man. And then he just kept talking to people.
Sure, yeah.
He said hi to me. I was like, Kurt said hi to me. I just like fanned out. I don't fan out really hard on people, but I fanned out.
I mean, I've talked about this on our podcast a bunch. If I ever got the chance to meet Kurt, I would definitely fan. Like it is literally
you can
a dream.
record with him.
It is a dream. It is dream to have Machinist go record with them, but that's a lot of money.
one day. Just take out
One
a
day.
loan. Just take out a loan.
The
Steal
issue
someone's.
is,
Yeah.
it's like expensive just to be there and record, and then you also have to get there. Like,
Yeah, you have to go all the way to Massachusetts. I think he's in Salem.
And I live in fucking Florida, so.
Dude, you're closer to him than I am. I mean,
But we probably would both spend the same amount of money flying there.
I know. Well, yeah. I guess you'd only need to bring like your guitars, maybe, because I think he's got tons of shit you can use.
Yeah.
Most studios are like that, where you just they have everything you can use.
Yeah, I wouldn't. I would be
flying.
like, I believe that if you have. I'm sure he has A custom cymbals, and that's my only thing. Is like, if I can get some A custom cymbals, I don't give a shit what drums I'm using.
Dude, I don't give a fuck whatever I'm playing. I mean, like, I grew up, I was a poor kid. I never had money, so like over here I have my guitars. I have like a fucking Squire Strat and like just cheap guitars and shit. Like I never. I mean, there's like some expensive stuff that I will put money into that I know that I want, but for most stuff, like get some guitar, I'm like, it doesn't matter to me. Like it plays, I can buy a $3,000 Gibson. It's not going to sound that much different than like my Epiphone, like hollow body I have over here.
For me, like I have this like ESP whatever cheap guitar, but I upgraded the pickups, and because I thought that I was like, I just wanted to sound better. I don't give a shit if the fucking guitar is a Gibson, you know what I mean? Like, but it sounds incredible. There's a local Gainesville pickup company called Valhalla Pickups that my friend runs, and he's done stuff for like cattle decapitation and shit too.
Oh yeah, I've seen that brand.
Yeah. He does. Yeah. So
Small
I
line.
got him to upgrade my pickups, and now my guitar sounds incredible. But it's just like this shitty guitar.
No, I mean, dude, really, when it comes down to it, I mean, if the wood's really bad, it's not gonna, it won't resonate as well. But it's like most of the stuff that's gonna make it sound good. It's just like the electronics and like the pots you're using. So if you get you could buy a Squire like Jazzmaster, go mod it out, and it'll sound like. There's videos where it's like you literally can mod it out, and it'll play. It sounds just like a real Fender.
Yeah.
Like like the wood's a little cheaper maybe, but
whatever. Who gives a shit?
As far as drums, like I have, I use I had a pasty ride cymbal that was like from the 70s. I bought off a dude, but it fucking keyholds so bad, so it's just like it just sits like this, and I'm like, is there a way to weld around it to where it'll sit normal, or I don't know if you can.
I don't even know. Yeah.
And then I have like a B8. I just fucking smack a B8.
Ooh, I had a B8 when I was starting. I like
drums.
how
they sound. I like how they sounded. I've recorded some stuff and. It just cuts through well enough. I mean, it's cheap and it's not amazing, but I just like it for if you're like in a punk band, like
yeah. I mean, ultimately,
works.
like I slowly upgraded my drum set. I definitely started with a snare drum. I needed a better snare drum because in Machinist, fucking Matt Marshall plays through a fucking Lionheart 120 watt amp with a Sun 4, and it's fucking loud as shit. And then Matt Zagorski's over here with a fucking Sun 3x10 cab, whatever. And so like, I'm like, I gotta have something that's louder than these goddamn amps. So I bought this pork pie Black Beauty snare that's like a
nice.
I'm trying to remember. It's not steel. What is it? Brass. It's brass snare.
Brass. Yes.
And so it cuts through like crazy.
Oh, dude.
And so I just started slowly upgrading, and then I got a Truth custom kit off my friend who was like struggling to pay rent.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'll take advantage of that situation.
Well, I'm helping you, right?
Yeah,
I'm helping you, but also
I'm a shit. Yeah. Well, I don't feel bad because he turned out to be a piece of shit, and so like,
in that case, fuck him.
Yeah, fuck him. Anyways, and then I got upgraded cymbals, and that's where I'm sitting now. I have a 20-inch, 22-inch Sweet Ride for my main cymbal, and that is the best cymbal I've ever played on, best cymbal I've ever owned. Sounds amazing. I can play that cymbal in all of my bands, and it does not matter. Like I can play it in my shitty punk band, my metal band, my emo band, whatever, and it sounds
Universal.
amazing. So that's like my big thing. My crash and my hi-hats, I'm like, whatever. But as long as I got that fucking Sweet Ride, it's a sweet ride.
Yeah, dude. Like I just Frankenstein shit. Like my hi-hat is like a 14-inch. Top was like a Zildjian with the markers just wore off. It's an old cymbal my friend gave me. And then the other one cracked, so I flipped it, and I have a bottom B8 Pro. It's got holes drilled in it. I don't know if that was supposed to kind of release more of the air maybe when it's clamping. So
Yeah,
I don't know. Someone drilled holes in it, and I got it for like really cheap. So I was like, whatever. But it sounds great. I'm like, yeah, it works. You know. Also, when mixing, if something's like, oh, it's a little too this, like, you just tweak it in the mix. And
yeah, I mean, I like I said, I pick up stuff when I can, and like I never is like I have to have top of the line stuff. I just happen to like slowly, piece by piece. But cymbals are goddamn expensive, man. Like,
dude, fuck cymbals. I always walk around like a store and I'm like, oh. I'm like, this splash is $300. This is so stupid.
Yeah, I always wait till sales happen or until I can buy it off of used on Craigslist or whatever.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I can't afford a fucking $500 brand new cymbal. This is fucking bullshit.
No, fuck that. There's like sets. You could buy like a pack. I mean, I almost bought is it Minol? Like, they have a pack where it's like dark cymbals. They're all like black looking.
Oh, sure, yeah.
I heard they're pretty decent.
Yeah.
It was pretty cheap. It was like cheaper, but I was like, I've heard my friend has like the regular pack, and they sound good. They're really, really thick. They're like really heavy, but I recorded that band and the drums, the cymbals sounded great though in the mix. Mm-hmm. But like in the room, I wasn't too stoked on it, but in the mix it sounded great, which I was like, depends on if you're doing more recording and you want it to sound good or if you're playing live. And I don't know, they felt like they were too heavy to get a lot of sound out of them. They're just
you have to beat
that's why it sounded good.
You have to beat the shit out of them if they're heavy, and that because they're heavy they'll crack easier in that way because like you're beating the shit out of them and they're heavy, so there's not as much room. They don't wiggle as much. They don't absorb the hit as well, and so they'll crack easier.
They crack, yeah.
Yeah, that's why like I like the A custom cymbals because they're not heavy and they really do absorb that wave, but they're also not like insanely bright. They're still a little dark. But yeah, enough drum talk.
I know, right? I just realized I'm like, oh yeah, if someone was listening, they're like,
wow, they just spent like 20 minutes on snare drums.
Someone's like, when are they going to talk about bass guitar?
My friend, what did I? It's some Fender bass over here. I don't know. I'm borrowing one from a friend of mine. I don't know.
Yeah.
Whatever. Anyways,
yeah. So yeah, Machinist. We talked about Machinist. What was I gonna say? Shit, I forgot. Usually I'll prepare some notes, but I just kind of jumped.
No,
on.
well, I really just like Trey. Let me come on this podcast.
Let's just chat. Let's just chat. You don't have to have. I know if it was someone I didn't know as well, I'd probably have notes in case.
Right. So other bands, I guess. Sports Reference, like you said earlier.
Sports Reference, yes.
You mastered that last EP we did.
Amazingly.
We've been writing a full length for like the last 2 years, eventually we'll get it recorded. We were still playing shows and stuff. It's not like we broke up or anything, but it's just like we've just been working on this fucking full length for forever, and it's like eventually it'll come out. I love the songs, but it's just like. That's probably my slowest moving band. That's the band that's like the hardest to write the songs.
Do you find like it's more tedious? Like you just want to make sure they like hit right or they
exactly.
Right?
Like so it's like we're also trying to put way more effort into like vocal melodies and stuff like that, and that is difficult as shit for me personally.
Dude, yeah, and it can be hard, man. It can be hard. I mean, especially
as someone who's never really written them before. It's like we're trying to like wait. The music comes way easier than the vocal stuff. So like we've had for us, and so we've had like 8 songs musically done, but like only 2 of them are done like vocally. So it's like I don't know. So that'll happen at some time.
Vocals are hard, dude. Lyrics, I literally cannot write lyrics to fucking. If someone put a gun to my head and said write like a song, I'd be like, hot potato.
I occasionally have random spurts with lyrics. Like a couple months ago, I wrote a song from the perspective of the Mars rover that died. But it was like, I don't know, like you wouldn't know it reading the song. Like it's just like kind of like this like sad song, but it's totally like in my mind, I'm like, the Mars rover is dying and I'm writing a song from that perspective. That was a really weird one.
No, it would be cool to see that fleshed out as if it would sound like a person, but then when you really think about it, you're like, oh, it's about the Mars rover. Like, or you would write it as if it was someone like, say, someone dying and they're stuck somewhere. But then really you're like, no, it's like, about the Mars rover.
It's the Mars rover.
You're like, oh, it's so deep.
Because I actually wrote that for a sports reference song, which is funny because, like, okay, so the first sports reference EP, not the one you mixed, but the one before that called Blue Room, I did write half the lyrics. I had been going through a really difficult time. My father had passed away, like, as we were writing that record. And so, like, I used that as a kind of, like, way to write about it, write about my feelings. And so that was not easy, but easier because I had something I specifically wanted to write about. But other than that, like I said, I just like really randomly I'll have like these inspirations for lyrics and I'll go off on a tangent and write something down. But yeah, so sports reference, that'll come out at some time. I don't know. But then, like I said, I'm in 1,000 bands, and the last band I'm in is called Leg Biters.
I think I didn't see too much about
Leg Biters is kind of like, I say pop punk, but not in the sense of like Story So Far or something like that. More in the sense of like Buzzcocks, like pop, like
poppy,
punk, like
punk
punk
with a pop,
punk. Yes, poppier punk.
Not pop punk. It's poppier punk.
It's
so
like
punk, but it's poppier.
It's punk with a poppy writing structure,
sensibility.
Yeah. And
no, so
sure.
I love that.
I'm in that band also with Joey from Sports Reference, but and then my good friend Sam Coons, who has been in a ton of bands. He was in Bad Luck for a little while, which is like they got kind of popular. Anyways, and that we have an EP that we've been sitting on for a while that we recorded in the middle of this quarantine stuff. And then we just got asked to be on a split that's going to come out next year, so we're like writing for that too. So it's like
cool.
I'm finally like I think people are getting used to I'm not saying I'm hanging out with people, but people are getting used to how life under quarantine works. So like we're like, okay, well, I don't know if we're going to play a show in 6 months and I still want to do stuff, so let's try and do this.
Yeah, I feel like it's better to be prepared, unless like some bands they just like fucked off, right? And then it's like, oh, at some point it's like, hey, everything's kind of normal again. And they're like, oh shit, we have to like write an album. I think a lot of bands have been just staying busy.
Yeah.
Also, for the bands that are actually maybe somewhat bigger who don't have anything else besides, or maybe they work a small job, but their whole life is a touring band. Mm-hmm. They have all this time to sit there and go, all right, so we're just going to like work on a new, like I saw something, I mean, a lot of people, I don't know how most people feel, but like I love Arcade Fire. Not so much the last album, but I was a big Arcade Fire song. I'm a fan, not song. I'm thinking of, but my brain's fried. But anyways, he there was an article. He's like, I've wrote like 3 full-length albums in quarantine.
Jesus.
And I'm like, oh wow, because he's a good writer and Win Butler, and I was like, oh, that's cool. Like this is something that either killed people's vibe as far as playing music, or either it's just made them double down and like try to be more creative. And for me, I was super creative at first, and I'm like, I make like electronic music sometimes on the side, like doing house kind of stuff. And I was like, I like banged out a couple songs. I did a remix and all this other stuff, and then I just hit a fucking wall, and I was like, I'm done. And and that's been like 5 months. I just haven't been. I just go through phases where I don't feel creative, or like I don't feel like I have anything to say, or I just don't feel like I have to do it. And especially when there's no motivation, because for me, I'm mainly more motivated when I know that I have something I have to do. Like, I'm in a band, like, we're going to put an album out, and then we're going to do this, and then, cool. But like when there's no not incentive, but when there's no like end sight, I don't know if it's just the way my brain works. I'm like, I just don't have as much motivation, because I need something to be like, I got to work on this. I need more structure. I can't just, like, I'm not a person who's just like, I wrote like 14 songs and I'm going to just start tracking and like, I can't do that.
I understand.
Sometimes, but no.
I think I'm a mix of that, and also like, so for the first like 4 months of this, I didn't do anything. I was like, I don't know what to do. I don't know how to do this. And it's just like, I was like, I'm done. And then it hit a point where I was like, okay, now I have to do something, even if it's never gets released. And that's when I started Poke Boner, which is like ridiculous. But But that has now inspired me for other things. Like that's got me like wanting to write more Machinist stuff, more sports reference stuff. It's like, so I feel like it was like a snowball effect. It's like I just needed a little push, and I was like, all right, I'm going to just start fucking around on guitar. And now I'm like, okay, now I want to do this. I want to do this. I want to do this. But you know, I definitely think there's a big shout out to all the bands that have been putting out music this year. Like,
yeah, man,
because this is a different world we live in. You can't play shows, so it's like, you know,
you're reliant on streams and shit.
Right.
At this point.
So you could put out a record, and you have no way to push it. You know what I mean? Like,
except marketing or
right. But like,
Facebook
if you're a small
ads.
band, it's like, you know, good on you for putting stuff out. But like, I know a lot. Like, there's been so much good music this year. I've actually been going over a bunch of that because I'm trying to come up with some sort of year-end list, even though there's still another record or two I'm waiting on to come out.
Yeah.
I honestly, I really don't like when people do year-end list in like November. It's like, dude, December is a month. There's still music coming out. What the fuck?
I feel like I did that once before. It was like in the middle of December. I was like, here's my year-end list. Because I'm like, I don't really know how much is going to get put out in like a week or two that's really going to sway me to be like, this is the album of the year.
Right.
I think last year, I don't think I did it. I was like, I didn't listen to a lot of newer stuff. I just go through weird phases where I might find new artists and listen to stuff, or I just listen to like the same fucking albums. Like I was listening to like the last like 3 weeks, I've been listening to the same 2 Joyce Manor records, like Cody, and then their newer one, the Million something. I don't know. It's got all the photo of all of them on the front, and I just been and then I've only had Spotify for like the last couple months because me and my girlfriend, I used to have Apple Music. I got rid of it, got Spotify. I'm not a big fan of Spotify, but like it's one of those things where like they're fucking lame, and then I have it, and I'm like, oh fuck this! It's so convenient, and
well,
I love. It's actually really, it's like pretty cool, but also it's at a cost.
In my mind, it's okay. So you have Spotify, and it's like I would probably just be pirating a lot of this music, right? I used to pirate music all the time. I was just constantly would pirate music, and so it's like
me too.
now, like Spotify is like, I don't mind. I'll pay. Because I share like a family account, so it's like I'll pay $4 a month for unlimited access to all this music forever. But I 100% make a point that if I really enjoy a record, I try and buy it physically.
Yes, exactly. That's what I do.
To support the bands, because I know that Spotify is not giving them anything. So it's like
no.
In my mind, like Spotify is like, yes, they should be paying bands more ultimately, but as of they are not right now, it's like I make a point to support where I can in other places while also still using Spotify, because like I can't afford to buy all the records all the time. I have to be kind of, you know, specific about where I put my money. So like,
for sure,
you know, like fuck Spotify, they should be paying more. So I give the bands money where I can. But I still use Spotify.
If you look at it like, I guess one way you could look at it, which obviously, they don't. Just that it's just if the dude who like ran Spotify and or the people that ran it were like, we only make like a modest income from it, then I don't think anyone would have a problem with it. But it's that the dude's a fucking like billionaire.
Yeah,
and he's like, I just piggybacked off of all these artists and now I'm rich as fuck. And here you go. Here's 0.00087% of. Yeah, it's like 0.000. I think there's either 3 or 4 zeros. I'm not good at math. It's like
I think it's 3.
3 zeros.
Yeah,
so that's
I think it's
10, 100. It's like 1/1,000,000th of a cent.
Yeah,
or something.
it's like ridiculous.
So here's this. But if you look at it like where people would pirate shit all the time, but now everyone's streaming, they're making all the money and probably hoarding it, and then. But at least if there was people that were pirating stuff, at least they're getting paid something.
And that's what I mean is like Spotify has replaced piracy for me. So it's like
they are the pirates.
They're not getting right. They're the pirates. No, but they're not getting like when I stream something, it's like it's not replacing my will to buy it, right? So it's like it's only replacing what I wouldn't have paid for anyways. So I know that's a weird statement, but like that's why I said I make a point to buy merch and buy vinyl and give the money that way, because I've always done that. Even when I pirated music, I would still I go to shows, I spend my money there because I want the bands directly to get the money. You know what I mean? Like
Oh no, for sure. I feel like most people do that unless they're just shitheads. And
Yeah, there's a lot of shitheads out there.
I mean, there's sometimes where if something's completely out of stock or something, where there's a couple times where I've gone on to like a random site or I've gone on to Amazon and bought a record here and there, but it's only the most dire of situations where I'm like, I really want this and I found it here, whatever, but I always make a point to buy it from either the artist, and sometimes the artists don't even have their own sites.
Yeah.
They might just go through the label. So
Yeah.
And then I'm like, well, if I pay the label, they're gonna
pay the artist.
they're taking care of the artist. So I always try to do that.
Yeah, I mean, I do buy stuff off of Discogs, but I usually buy stuff that's out of press, or out of print. If I could, I just got this I just got the Foundation LP. When the smoke clears, I got it up on the wall back there. Oh
yeah.
That's been out of print for fucking well over 5 years. You can't find a new copy, so it's like, well, I'll go on Discogs and buy it because the band also doesn't exist. So it's like I do still buy used records, of course, but like when I can, I buy new and I buy it from the band.
Oh, for sure. I've only used Discogs, I think, like 2 times. I bought a Dangerous record.
Dude, I love it. It's the best site in the world. I catalog everything. It helps me keep track of because I probably have I don't know, at least 1,000 LPs. I don't know.
Oh, you have 1,000. Oh yeah, I had almost 500, but half, a third of them were just old rock records that a friend's their family member
I've got a ton of those too. I understand.
They gave me this one homie of mine I used to work with at a Whole Foods in California. He's like, hey, I have all these records, and some of them I kept. He's like, here you go. It's a Thin Lizzy record and all these really cool rock records. He's here's 4 fucking Grateful Dead records that I got rid of, and I'm like, fuck, I wonder if they were old. I was like, fuck, these probably were worth money, and I just sold them to every day.
I mean, honestly, they're probably not. There's those records. That was the way you bought. It'd be like finding a Grateful Dead CD. You're like, this isn't worth anything because they printed 1 million of them.
That's true. Well, I just figured maybe it's worth something because it's older, and maybe if it's a first press of
yeah, that's true.
There's there's the Deadhead in Portland, in Oregon. Dude, don't even get me started. Every fucking person's a Deadhead, dude. Seriously, every person I run into, they're like, yeah, dude, fucking Dead Fish. I'm like, ew. I do have to say there's a couple cool Grateful Dead songs, but they're more kind of country rock sounding, which I do like country to an extent.
Yeah, I mean, I like country.
It's so funny. There's times where, depending on a person, I would not really be like, yeah, I fucking love country, but I do like country. It's not something I'm outwardly expressed to people
it's because but I was gonna say people assume when you say country, you mean pop country.
Oh, you like Florida Georgia Line, you fucking loser.
No, dude, I like John Prine and I like old Johnny Cash and shit.
Yeah, of course, John. Dude, you fuck with Chris Stapleton?
Yeah. Oh! I'm trying to remember that
Chris.
dude that was in Drive By Truckers and he split out on his own. I don't know. There's just a bunch of.
It's funny.
Wow.
I'm homies with a couple bands that the dudes I knew that are older than me. They're all homies with some of the dudes from Drive By Truckers, and I actually befriended the tour manager of Lucero, and
nice.
I became homies with him, and he actually lives in Portland. It's kind of funny. But he's their tour manager, and I remember they were playing a show here, and I worked at a venue, and the production manager was like, "Hey, you love Lucero? Do you want to work a show?" I was like, "Dude, fuck yeah, I love Lucero." So I got to load in their shit and then hang out with Sean, and I was like,
"Yeah, I actually got to see them 2 years ago. They opened this free festival in St. Augustine with Jason Isabel, who is the guy I was just thinking about, also played, but also the Decemberist and
dude, fuck yeah.
bunch of random bands. It was crazy. It's cool. Yeah.
But anyways, let's see. I'm gonna have to wrap this up.
Yeah. I just realized it's we've been recording
you're
a
fine.
while.
Oh no, you're fine, dude. I mean, I'll go fucking 5 hours if I could, but we got some other stuff to do today. But anyways, shout out to Jeremy from Machinist. Everybody, go follow Sports Reference. Go follow Machinist, the Machinist, and Lake Biters.
Yeah.
And
one more.
Pope Boner.
Yeah.
Boner Pope. Go check out Boner Pope and slam that shit. I mastered it.
Also, my podcast, Deathscography podcast.
Oh, and Deathscography. Also, check out Jeremy McGuire, right? It's McGuire.
Yeah.
Jeremy McGuire.
That's me.
Photography site.
Yes.
It's Jeremy McGuire photography.org.
Yeah. Fuck it. Yeah. I'm on Flickr.
I'm on Flickr. Dude, I used to have a Flickr account.
It's great.
You know what? Every once in a while, I'll forget the password. I somehow reset it, and I log in, and I look at all these photos from, like, when I used to live in Seattle when I was, like, 18, and I'm like, holy shit. Look at all these old photos, and then I just, like, forget it, and I never go on it.
No, but honestly, if you want to find my photography stuff, you can find me on Instagram and shit at Iron Ray Gun. I post a lot of it there. So
Iron Ray Gun, yes. That sounds like is that a band name, or did you just make that up?
Iron Reagan is a band, but
Iron Reagan.
And Iron Ray Gun is my
Ray Gun.
Instagram handle.
Dude, that's sick. All right, well, thanks, Jeremy. Thanks for coming
Trey.
on, and everybody.
No, it's been fun.
Yeah. All right, see you, bud.
Bye.
All right, well, that's the show. Thanks for sticking around. If you've listened through the whole thing, make sure to check out Jeremy's projects. Hope Boner. I think I forgot to mention that in the beginning of the episode, but I'm mentioning it now, so it doesn't matter. Pope Boner, Sports Reference, Machinist. They're great people. Good friends. Yeah. So anyways, till next time, signing off. Thanks, everyone. Bye.